I'm here to talk to you a little bit about something that, you know, I'm really, really passionate about. I'm passionate about culture, and I'm particularly passionate about team culture, because that could be a difference. You know, that's maybe the first idea that I want to share. There's the organizational culture, you know, the culture of the organization that you belong to, and then obviously there's your team culture, or you can call it like a subculture if you want to. I'm going to also ask you to, for the ones that can use the chat, just very quickly, okay, just the first thing that comes to the top of your mind, because that's usually the real reason. Why have you come to this coffee chat today? Why did you sign to this particular coffee chat? I know you do it every Monday, but you know, what was it in today's topic that sort of made you think, I think I want to listen to this? Always good to learn from experience of others. Yeah, that's Charlena. It sets my week. Starting a Monday surrounded by people with the same mindset, it's an awesome boost. Yes, that's true. That's usually what happens. Like, for example, if you do your check-in meeting with your own meeting every beginning of the week, that's the kind of ritual that can really get everyone energy boosted, passionate about facilitating. Culture is so tricky. Oh, I love that, Jay. Sometimes I feel like as managers, we have no control over it. Team culture and self-organized teams is something every Scrum Master day-to-day life. Yes, self-organization, that's something that for Scrum Masters out there is not new, but it's kind of a new topic that's being more and more debated. And going through loads of organizational change over the past months, would love to hear other people's experiences. Okay, so thank you very much for those that shared and that could share in the chat. So I just want to obviously start my sharing with this sentence that I absolutely love, from Margaret Mead. So I'm going to read it out loud for those of you that are driving. Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it is the only thing that ever has. So what I did was something a bit naughty, and I've actually changed it a little bit to this. So never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed managers can change their team's context. Indeed, it is the only thing that ever has. And I've apologized to Margaret. I'm so sorry. You know, I got her very famous quote, and I've sort of twisted it just for today. So why did I do this? Because I'm not a manager currently, so I'm self-employed. I don't have anyone on my team, but I used to be a manager. And I actually firmly believe this. I actually think that managers are probably the most powerful people inside the organization. Not if you think about the concept of power as in you can make all the decisions in the organization, but actual effective power in your team's day-to-day life. So the impact of a manager in a team's dynamic is absolutely huge. And I'm sure that all of you have felt this some way or the other, either because you were part of a team and you changed managers and your life just completely changed the minute that a new person came in to lead you, or because as a manager, you've owned that sort of impact, that influence, and you've seen it happening with your own eyes. So team culture is something to be designed. So that's another thought that I want to share throughout here. It will be interesting to see what you guys have to say when we get to exchange some point of views. And this is just a definition for team culture. So that's my definition. Team culture is how you do things. It's your house. It's a collection of house. How you go about your targets, your metrics, how you communicate between yourselves, and how you act, how you decide, how you solve conflicts inside the team. Do you solve them at all? Because in a team, when there's no conflict management or when there's no protocol, then it's left to each person to do it. And in some teams, there's just no conflict resolution. There's like this tacit rule that's there because there isn't something that says that in our team we need to sort out conflicts and this is how we are going to do it. Then they're left unsolved and they fester. And in a team, a conflict that's not solved, like a proper conflict, is probably going to come up or show up in the worst possible time. So why would you design team culture? Why am I bringing this concept here? Because a great team culture does not happen by default. I can assure you this. If left to its own sort of to its natural kind of evolution, you will have something. That's something that has to be clear. You will have something. Your team will have their way of doing things, but it will probably just be an amalgamation of, you know, everyone's personal agendas, everyone's personal values, which sometimes are, you know, they don't necessarily match. So this is like the first idea that I would like to leave here. We need to design the culture of our team. We need to sort of, I saw this sentence the other day from a programmer and I loved it. You know, programmers code for greatness. Developers, they code for greatness. They code for the greatness of the product, of the software, of the app. So we need to code for greatness when it comes to our teams. Now, how can we do this? I'm going to leave you with two ways of designing the two tools that you could use, because that was when Jay spoke to me about us talking about team culture. There was one thing that I thought that I wanted to do, which is, okay, I think I'm just going to leave a couple of tools, because some of these managers, you know, may actually go back home or go back to work and think, okay, I think I can do a bit of designing work in my team's culture, because it's not necessarily where I think it should be, or I don't feel that we have, you know, such a great culture. And so what I did is, there are many tools out there, and I just chose two. I chose this one. It's actually called the Team Canvas. And it's a canvas, okay? And you know that canvas, you know, they're used everywhere for everything. I don't love canvases and like templates and stuff like that, but they do have one advantage. They help you structure your session with your team. They help you structure your line of thought. They actually tell you, from everything that you can think of when you're designing team culture, what's the things that I cannot forget about, because they are the critical ones. So the Team Canvas is basically a canvas that you can either use online. This same canvas is actually in Mural. They've sort of made a partnership. So if you use Mural for your remote team managing, you can be with your team, each one in their own physical location, and you can build this team canvas together. It's called Team Canvas, so it's not supposed to be done by you. You know, you don't fill out this canvas and then present it to your team, as in, hi guys, hi girls. So I've had a bit of a thought, and I think I know what's the culture that I think I would like us to have. It is really a team effort. Like, I've done this work before with one of my teams, not using this canvas. I used another one, a model that's called High Performance Collaboration. And we had to do several sessions. Like, we scheduled into our team meetings moments to go into our High Performance Collaboration template and just discuss, debate. And I think that's the big advantage of these canvases, is that they already give you the questions that you have to ask to the team, and then you can just answer together, and you can see the team happening in terms of each person's personal views on each topic, and you can see the conflicts. And that's good, because you need to sort of bring the conflicts and the difference of opinions. And sometimes not sometimes, the difference of opinions is actually what's going to help you build the culture that you as a team need to have to deliver the results that you were asked to deliver, and to actually be good in your shoes as a team, to feel proud, to come to work with every day with this sense of, you know, I'm part of this group of people, this really nice, cool, engaged, passionate group of people that rows in the same direction. Each one of us has its different personalities, and, you know, we think differently, but we can get together to work. So this is one, and the other one is this one, the culture design canvas. This one is very famous. It was done or invented by this guy, Gustavo Rossetti. This one is a bit more complex than the one that I presented before, because it actually, it asks you to look into all of these areas in your team. And these are the most important questions that you can make to each other. Okay, so all of you have seen this. What's your purpose? What are the shared values? Not what are the team's values, okay? What are the shared values? What are the values that you can all commit to? Like, you don't need to believe in the same things, okay? You don't need to have the same personal values. Sure, it helps when when there's a group of people that share the same personal values and you get together, things just flow very easily. You know, you get that feeling that you're home, that as in, oh, wow, you know, these people, they kind of see the world the way I do it. But more and more, there's also a disadvantage to be working with a group of people that sees the world the way you do it. It's actually very important to have different perspectives on the world and on life in a team. But if you can find a set of a few shared principles of the things that as a group you decide, okay, no matter how I see the world, these are the things that as a group we're going to do. And these are also the things that as a group we will never do. That's really, really important. That's the behaviors that you wish to have, and the ones that you're like, as a team, we don't want to do that. So how do you make decisions? This is critical. You know, a team that doesn't have a way to make decisions. Are you a team that is going to fight for consensus? Or are you a team where people agree to disagree? Once you find what's considered the best solution, you'll just commit to it. So this needs to be designed in the team. How do you meet and collaborate? How are your meetings? Like, I love meetings. I love a good meeting. I know that meetings are considered evil in you know, in work and in corporate world. But when you have a good team meeting, wow, you know, time flies. You do what you have to do. You talk about things. You sometimes have a few arguments, a few disagreements. You manage them. You innovate. You think of new ways of doing things, and you get out of the meeting thinking, wow, this was a great work session. This was the best way to spend my time this morning or this afternoon. What are your norms and your rules? What rituals do you have? Maybe we can talk a little bit about rituals after I finish, because rituals, in my opinion, are one of the most important things to define and to consolidate a team's culture, because they're the things that you do together, and they're very symbolic, or they can be very symbolic, and they keep your thing alive, the thing that makes you the team that you are, different from any other team. Rituals keep them alive. And then, how do you create and keep psychological safety? Like, this is one of the biggest enablers. If you have psychological safety in your team, it's one of the biggest enablers of everything good. From delivering results, to innovating, to co-creating, to collaborating, to actually feeling proud of where you work at. If it doesn't exist, then it works exactly the other way around. It just asphyxiates everyone. It's just one of the biggest performance and creativity killer there is the lack of psychological safety. And it's up to you as a team to define the rules, the things, the principles that you're going to do that will show everyone that in this team we're safe, we can do whatever, we can say whatever we want to say and ask whatever we want to say, and it's going to be okay, because, you know, there will be no consequences. There will be no retaliation. Okay. Right. So I'm going to shut up now and just leave you guys with 3 books, 3 recommendations of 3 books that I think are really good, of course, on their own, but that can actually inspire you to think a little bit more or further about some of the things that I've mentioned. So when you talk about that, how do you meet and collaborate? What are your rituals? For those of you that haven't read this book, read it. It's called The Art of Gathering, How We Meet and Why It Matters. It's absolutely fantastic. And it tells you as managers, what are the little things that you should be thinking of when, for example, you prepare a team meeting. It doesn't have a chapter on corporate meetings. It doesn't, but it actually tells you the story of why is it that humans like to meet, and why is it so important that you curate, that you design your meetings carefully with a lot of the feelings that you usually want to elicit. That's the kind of feelings that you have to put into planning a team meeting. Then there's this one, which is for me like one of the best books I've read on culture. It was written by Ben Horowitz. He's actually a venture capitalist. And when you hear this expression, venture capitalist, you just imagine these guys that, you know, they only care about money and, you know, Silicon Valley startups. And well, Ben Horowitz actually, sorry. Okay. So Ben Horowitz actually, he has a venture capital firm, but they actually have a completely different culture as a venture capital firm. They're one of the most sought after venture capitalist firms of any, you know, startup founder. And he wrote this book, What You Do Is Who You Are, and it's absolutely fantastic. And then the last one, it's also a really good book on culture, The Insider's Guide to Culture Change. It's written by, she's actually Irish, but she's living in Australia for many years. So she says that she's more of an Australian girl at the moment. And she gives you a lot of insight tips of, you know, as someone that has worked in culture transformation for pretty much all of her life. So, you know, they're all really easy and not very big books to read. So that's it. That's the ideas that I wanted to share. Let's open the conversation.
Fantastic. I'm just gonna stop.